Xiao Hui was an ordinary house cat living in a small city apartment. Sunlight always streamed through the window, warming her fur. Food appeared in her bowl on schedule, a predictable routine. She believed the world was stable and unchanging, a safe haven. One day, the wind blew the window ajar, a breath of change. Unfamiliar scents drifted in, not canned food or detergent. It was the smell of damp earth and tree bark, wild and untamed. Xiao Hui couldn't resist jumping onto the windowsill, drawn by the scent. She chased the aroma outside, a leap of faith into the unknown. When she stopped, the city had vanished, a concrete jungle gone. Asphalt had turned into soft mud, cool and yielding under her paws. Skyscrapers had become layers of leafy shadows, tall and green. The leaves whispered overhead, a chorus of secrets in the breeze. Sunlight streamed like water through the branches, dappled and bright. For the first time, Xiao Hui felt fear, a prickle of unease. She tried to turn back, but the way she came was gone, vanished. Each path looked the same, a maze of green and brown. Every tree seemed to shift its position, disorienting and strange. The forest closed in around her, a wall of silent observation. Xiao Hui's heart pounded in her chest, a drumbeat of panic. She called out, a small meow lost in the vastness of the woods. The air hung heavy with the scent of pine and damp earth. A twig snapped nearby, making her jump in fright. She scanned the undergrowth, her eyes wide with apprehension. The shadows danced and swayed, playing tricks on her vision. Xiao Hui felt utterly alone, lost in a world she didn't understand. The familiar comforts of home seemed a distant memory. She missed the soft cushions, the warm sunlight, the easy meals. The forest floor was cold and damp beneath her paws. She shivered, a tremor of fear running through her body. The sounds of the forest were alien and unsettling. Rustling leaves, chirping insects, the hoot of an owl. Everything was different, everything was unknown. Xiao Hui closed her eyes, trying to remember the way back. But the image of the apartment was fading, replaced by trees. She opened her eyes again, a wave of despair washing over her. She was truly lost, swallowed by the immensity of the forest. The sun began to set, casting long, eerie shadows. The forest grew darker, the sounds more menacing. Xiao Hui huddled beneath a large tree, seeking shelter. She curled into a ball, trying to conserve her warmth. The night air was cold and damp, chilling her to the bone. She closed her eyes, but sleep wouldn't come. Every rustle, every snap kept her on edge. She longed for the safety and security of her former life. The forest was a dangerous place, a world of shadows and secrets. Xiao Hui was just a house cat, unprepared for this wilderness. She wondered if she would ever see her home again. The thought brought tears to her eyes, blurring her vision. She was alone, afraid, and utterly lost. The wind whispered through the trees, a mournful lullaby. Xiao Hui shivered again, pulling herself tighter. She closed her eyes and tried to imagine the sun rising, hoping that morning would bring a way out of this forest. She dreamt of warmth, of food, of safety. A dream that felt so far away, almost impossible. The forest held her captive, a prisoner of its green embrace. Xiao Hui was trapped, with no hope of escape. Or so she thought, as the first rays of dawn appeared. A new day, a new chance, a new beginning in the woods. Xiao Hui's voice sounded small and lonely in the vast, unknown forest. She called out again, a plaintive meow echoing through the trees. Suddenly, she heard light hopping sounds nearby, breaking the silence. A rabbit darted out from the bushes, its nose twitching nervously. It clutched several bright orange carrots tightly in its paws. "You're not a forest cat," the rabbit stated, eyeing Xiao Hui. "Your eyes are too bright, like you haven't learned to see the darkness." Xiao Hui lowered her head, admitting her fear and confusion. She confessed that she was utterly and completely lost in the woods. The rabbit paused, considering her words with a thoughtful expression. It twitched its ears again, then gave a decisive nod of its head. "Then you need to see the forest elder, the 5-colored deer." The rabbit turned and began to walk along a narrow forest path. Xiao Hui hesitated for a moment, then followed the rabbit closely. She saw things she'd never seen before, strange and wondrous sights. There were mushrooms that glowed softly in the dim, filtered light. She noticed stones that seemed to speak in hushed, whispered tone. A stream flowed only in shadows, a ribbon of darkness through the trees. The deeper she went, the more tired and quiet Xiao Hui became. The forest's magic began to weigh heavily on her small shoulders. She started to miss the familiar comfort of her city apartment. She longed for the sunlight streaming through her window each morning. She missed the sound of her food bowl, a comforting signal. She yearned for the carefree version of herself, safe and secure. The 5-colored deer appeared, its coat shimmering in the twilight. Its eyes were wise and ancient, filled with the forest's secrets. It spoke in a voice like rustling leaves, soft and calming. "The way home is remembered with the heart," the deer said gently. Xiao Hui looked around, truly seeing the forest for the first time. She realized she wasn't truly lost, not in the way she thought. She had simply left the place that had always protected her. The deer smiled, a subtle shift in its gentle expression. "The forest tests those who enter," it whispered to the cat. Xiao Hui closed her eyes, picturing her warm apartment. She remembered the soft cushions, the familiar smells, the safe space. Opening her eyes, she saw a faint path leading back the way she came. The rabbit nodded, offering a small carrot as a farewell gift. Xiao Hui thanked the rabbit and the deer, her heart full of gratitude. She started walking back, the path clearer with each step she took. The trees seemed less menacing, the shadows less frightening. She could hear the faint sounds of the city in the distance. Hope began to blossom in her chest, a warm and comforting feeling. The forest began to thin, the trees becoming sparser and smaller. She saw a familiar landmark, a tall oak tree she'd passed earlier. The city was now visible, a beacon of light in the distance. Xiao Hui quickened her pace, eager to return to her home. She could almost smell the familiar scent of her apartment. She stepped out of the forest, back onto the soft mud. The city stretched before her, a welcome sight after her adventure. Xiao Hui turned back to look at the forest one last time. She whispered a silent thank you to the rabbit and the deer. Then she turned and walked towards the city, her heart lighter. She knew she would never forget her journey into the forest. She had learned a valuable lesson about courage and self-discovery. She had faced her fears and found her way back home. Xiao Hui walked back into her apartment, a changed cat. She was no longer just an ordinary house cat. She was a cat who had seen the darkness and found her way back to the light. She curled up on her favorite cushion, purring contentedly. The world was still stable, but she knew it held endless possibilities.